Uh,
Hey there, welcome back to Coffee, Cocktails, and Convos.
I love it. What?
So,
Wait, is that our name? Oh my
so
gosh,
last
this is crazy.
episode, and it's not even cocktail hour yet. I just
No,
had
but
my
it should be.
espresso,
Should
so
be.
it should be. Yeah, we're gonna have to do one for sure. Cocktail hour.
Yeah.
So, last episode we talked about menopause, what I had gone through, and we chatted about a few things that happened to me and my experiences and things that I did for myself to kind of get self-empowered and back on track. And we talked about the moon cycle, which was fantastic. I loved that little caveat. And so now we're going to talk with Dr. B because she's going through it right
Oh
now.
yeah.
She's going through perimenopause, which we all have to do. So I'm gonna just slide on over to Dr. B.
Is that the right way? That might not be the right way.
My way.
Yes, I am in it. So here, like I am like, well, I'm newly in it, but not newly in it because everything I'm learning, I'm realizing that like I had little subtle shifts probably over the last couple, 2.5, 3 years that I just would chalk up to something else, right? Like a more fatigue or these mood swings. And I was just like, oh, I must have had a stressful day or whatever. Like I would just justify them in some other way, not having any freaking clue that this is what was actually happening in my body until so I turned 43 last October, and April, it was like, boom, okay, and your body is totally different. And I was like, wait, what? Like, wait, what? First, I was like, well, that was weird. That my period, I've never had a 30-day cycle. Like, that was super weird. And then it was like crazy amounts of blood.
It sneaks up on you. You
Oh,
don't
like
even expect it.
overnight,
Just
my
little
friends,
little
overnight.
changes, and then, like you
And
said, kaboom.
just whacked, like swept me off my feet on my tush, barely functioning. So I went like 30 days on one cycle, 17 on the next one, 30 days, 21. Like it was like bouncing back and forth. And I was like a hot mess. The first couple months, I was like, well, this is super weird. I wonder if I'm just like stressed out or I got something else. Again, still trying to justify, right? Not really realizing. Um, but then I was like, oh, and here's where we're at. This is what is happening. And then I was like, and this is not okay. Right? Like, I mean, struggling, like barely getting off the couch. I'd wake up at my normal time and I would literally sleepwalk to the couch and fall back asleep until I absolutely had to be up for the day. And then I was just like a walking mummy for hours. And then there were days where I was like, yeah, I feel good. I'm gonna mow the lawn, I'm gonna clean the shower. And then, then there were days where I literally looked like death on feet. So I started diving into the research and I'm very new into the research. And what I've learned, and we talked about just slightly on the last podcast, is there isn't a lot of doctors or professionals who have really
Mhm.
dove into this work, and it's not something that's like taught in medical school. It's not even in the in the pelvic rehab coursework and certification. It is very minimally spoken about. So
Mhm.
it's really one of those things of like, oh well, it's a season in life and you're a woman and you're getting older, and so you're just going to pee your pants and you're going to be dry when you are trying to have sex, and that's not fun,
Yeah.
so you're going to have pain, and then like I don't know, have more foreplay, add some lubrication, like I don't know,
Yep.
take some hormones, like here's some depression medication or anxiety
Yep.
medication. I'm like, like that
And
can't
our
be the answer.
partners, yeah, and our partners,
I
right?
know.
Whichever gender our partner is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, the
If they're
person you
not
are
going
intimate with.
through it too, they don't
No,
understand what the
no,
hell's going on.
no, no.
Get
And I
off
don't
of me. Okay,
expect
come
him to
on me.
understand, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I also, yeah, there's also these significant changes occurring in real time. And one of those even being like, I literally do not feel like this body is mine. Like it's an alien, it's super foreign. I have no idea what's like going on in this. Like I feel like I'm this. If you were to draw the outline of me and then you drew like a thinner inner line, I am this, but this is what I see and feel. And that is super weird because it's kind of like this out of body, like that isn't mine. It doesn't feel good. I don't know what's happening. And so, you guys, I hit the books. I'm new into the books, but I hit the books because I am not going to live this way. And that is
Mm-hmm.
why we're here today. Is I want to empower you. Kelly D wants to empower you through these seasons of life to know that with just these little tune-ins, these little shifts,
Mm-hmm.
you can really change the game. And I
Yeah,
will
I
tell
just
you
wanted to
guys,
add in,
yeah, go,
sorry, I
go,
just
go.
wanted
No,
to
you're good.
add in that when we're pregnant, right? If you've been pregnant, right? Like I have, Dr.
Mm-hmm,
B, of
mm-hmm,
course, and
mm-hmm,
whoever, but that's kind of what it feels like. Like when you're carrying the baby, you don't feel like it's your body anymore,
mm-hmm.
right? And when you're nursing, you definitely don't feel like it's your body
Yeah.
anymore because you're on call like
On
247,
call.
right? So it's kind of
Absolutely.
that change again, right?
Yeah.
Like when we were first in our love stage, right? When we're loving our body and everything else, we get pregnant and our body literally is not our own. It's kind of now we're in that kind of the same stage, but different because
Mm-hmm,
there's
mm-hmm.
nobody there but us. Okay, I'll let you talk.
Oh no, you're good. This is great. And it's one of those things where like too, if you're an accomplished human being and you're a high achiever, like these days where you feel like poop on a stick, they suck because all you want to do is get up and like get it done because that's what you love and that's what you're used to. And that is literally not what's happening. And then then I would say you even go into like the shame and the guilt cycle of like, well, what does my partner think of me that I've been sitting on the couch for 4 hours? Or why can't I get my butt out of bed? Why am I so tired? I'm eating right and I'm sleeping and I'm doing all these things. And why do I feel like my belly is 20 pounds bigger? And like, right. So it's just like a complete poop on a stick show.
Hormones,
Yeah, it's all the hormones.
hormones.
So I'm new into the research, but I will tell you guys, I am in and passionate about this already because just in the last, well, I'm in the late luteal phase. So that's day 21 to day 28 of the cycle. We'll get into that in a minute. On my second time, now having made some shifts, and I haven't even made all the shifts, I've made some of the shifts based on what I'm reading and listening to. But in that first month of like diving into this and just making like 3 shifts, I had the best period I've probably had in a decade, honestly. And I was like, if this is what perimenopause looks like when I'm in control, I'm in. Like, I will dive further into the research. I will implement these other shifts because that felt good. That felt okay. That felt doable. And I felt like me. And so I just want to encourage you guys. One, you're not alone because like we're all going through it at some level, right? And it really starts as young as 35 and goes up into about the age of 55 is that perimenopausal phase. So you may be 35 listening to this and be like, oh, I had no idea, right? That I like some of these symptoms potentially are this, right? So for me, it just happened that I noticed it when I was 43. So it's been about 6 months now. But okay, so here's just a few what I want to bring to you guys today. And as I dive in and learn more and more and more, because I'm like super like devouring this information, I'll bring that to you as I'm learning it. But here's where I really want to just give you these like 3 easy steps. They're free. You do them from your home, but you have to be in control and you have to decide to want to do this, right? That's the biggest thing. So once you've decided, like, oh, Dr. B says she got on it and 4 weeks later she had the best period of her life. Yes, that is true. Please get on it. So, okay. First one is sleep hygiene. Okay, it sounds kind of funny, but it's a true thing. So, what we know is that you want a dark, cold room. Okay. Now, any just like little bit of light, so a clock that's or your phone is next to your bed and you don't have it on like do not disturb or whatever those different settings are where it'll like kick on, those are going to disturb your sleep. It may be enough to wake you and then you can't go back to sleep. You may not have realized that's what's happening, but low light, even this like little bit of clock vibration light, so turn your clock around or whatever you need to do, put tape over it, I don't know. There's lots of different things I suppose you could do, wear a little mask, that kind of idea. But dark and cold is ideal. Okay. And quiet, of course. And going, this is the hardest part for me because I get up at the same time every day, and that is still very, very important because we work off rhythms and cycles, you guys. Like that is literally how our bodies function. And So the circadian rhythm is very important, and that's when we go to bed and when we wake up. So it is vital that you go to bed and you wake up at the same time every day. That is more important than how long you sleep. Okay. So I was waking up at the same time every day, but I wasn't going to bed at the same time. So I had to tune into that, and I still can perfect that even better. But even with the tuning in and the shifting that I did, because I had all the other sleep hygiene things in place, I had to turn the clock. But other than that, everything was in place. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I wake up feeling more energized and yeah, just simply better in the morning. So tune into dark, cold, go to bed and wake up at the same time every single day. Okay. And that's even on the weekends, my friends. Okay. Because that is really honoring your cycle with that circadian rhythm. And again, we work off rhythms and cycles. And Kelly, you had mentioned you had the insomnia. Did you have any tricks or tips like when you weren't able to fall asleep that maybe you can add to that?
Yeah, so I would make sure. So what I started to do is I would do my yoga class at nighttime. So I would do a yin and a restorative yoga
Mm-hmm.
class at night
Mm-hmm.
to get me into that like level of me being able to come home and relax,
Mm-hmm.
and just slip right into bed. So I'd come home, have a
Ah,
shower, and fall right into bed. So I
oh
started
wow.
to do
Okay.
that. Yeah, I found for me that really helped.
Uh-huh.
I definitely would, I would read at nighttime, but I would go to bed at the same time. So I
Mm-hmm.
usually am in bed by 9 o'clock. Am I
Mm-hmm.
sleeping? No,
Gotcha.
but definitely 9 o'clock is my bedtime.
And you're not on a screen because you guys, the blue and green lights are they're gonna stump your melatonin production. And so
Yeah.
even if you're like watching TV and you're in your bedroom laying in bed, when the time you turn the screen off, it takes at least 30 minutes for your body to be like, oh, it's sleepy time. Let me produce
Yeah.
melatonin. By the time it produces enough for you to be asleep, it's, maybe an hour, hour and a half in. That's torture, right? So
Yeah.
screens
That's
off.
why, yeah,
Mhm.
and that's why in the feng shui, I don't know if you've heard of the
Mhm.
feng shui, but they say put a curtain, put a sheet over your bed, over your TV
That
in your
too. That
bedroom.
too.
Depends what you're into
Better
that
yet,
day.
don't have a TV in your bedroom, but I'm marrying
Yeah,
somebody
better
that likes
yet,
a TV in the
exactly.
bedroom. Yep.
Yep. But they say if you do have a TV in your room, like if you're in a dorm room or whatever's happening in your
Uh-huh.
world,
Yeah.
just throw a towel on it or a sheet or something because it makes a huge difference. A huge difference.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to try that. Thank you. Yeah, because like I do all the EMF blocking stuff. I make sure I'm tuned out at least 30 minutes before. It's usually more, but like I'll have my blue light blocking glasses on. I have my different like shield your body like EMF grounders and stuff. But I like the sheet idea. That's great. So thank you for that. Um, and then we get into food, and food actually helps with the sleep as well because in the morning we want more dopamine producing foods. In the evening we want more of the serotonin, melatonin. Those are the things that are going to get us into that sleep mode. Especially like in the winter here, it's dark by 5. So in theory, circadian rhythm, your body thinks it's time to start going to bed. So starting to produce those things, and you're way less active after that sun goes down when your body's really in tune to that rhythm. So it's being aware of what also supports that, and what helps you get into that melatonin producing phase so that you can go to bed when you're ready for bed, or when that time for Kelly it's 9, for me it's 11. But making sure that you're in bed and ready to fall asleep at that time. So so foods is the other big one. So depending on where you're at in your cycle, there are different foods that are very helpful for supporting your hormones. And I'm not going to get into all the foods today, but the two that I want you to really hear me, well, three, I guess technically, is when you first wake, and this isn't a food, but it's a food in my opinion. When you wake in the morning, okay, your adenosine levels are super high in your brain. That's another sleepy thing. Okay. It takes about 45 minutes for adenosine to leave your brain naturally. So that's that fogginess that you feel. And most of us run to the coffee pot or the tea or whatever caffeine to boost us, right? Oh yeah, I'm guilty until like 7 weeks ago. So it naturally will leave within about 45 minutes. Okay. So if we can wait, if we can be patient for 45 minutes, holy cow, change the game. Because here's what happened. If we take in the caffeine right away within that 45 minutes, we're actually blocking that ability for adenosine to leave naturally. So we're putting a gate on it, we're keeping it in the brain. So then we're foggy, but we drank the caffeine. So now we're like, I'm good. I had my caffeine. Well, guess what? Caffeine wears off. So caffeine wears off. I feel foggy and groggy again. I'm going to go for another cup of caffeine. Woo, I'm good. And then we play this stupid game all day long because we just simply didn't know, couldn't be patient that first 45 minutes. We can really wait that 45 minutes, let the adenosine leave naturally. One, you might not even feel like you need the caffeine. That would be incredible. Drink lots of water during that time is my little trick. I still drink the caffeine because I just love the flavor of coffee, but I technically could just do decaf. But I am adamant that I wait that 45 minutes. So then I get my coffee. Didn't used to be a breakfast eater, but I started eating more dopamine producing foods in the morning. So I'll have like a probiotic yogurt with some berries, nuts, chia seeds. And that has been a game changer. We want to eat when it's like the sun up to sundown. So even for those of you that are intermittent fasting, if you're fasting later at night, which was what I was doing because I was waiting till after karate and it's dark out and I'm still eating, body doesn't love that. Because like in the cave world, didn't have light, you know, they weren't eating past dark. Like we got to honor those rhythms and cycles. So if you can, no matter what your window is, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours of eating, if you can eat when it's daytime, that's going to be way better for your body. And then, like I said, the serotonin producing foods closer in the evening. So that dinner time or that last meal that you're going to have to start just again, like Kelly was saying, like kind of putting her into that calm space, putting her into that centered. So that's going to help your body in those cycles and rhythms.
That's
But the
great. That's
coffee
so
was
great.
huge.
All that information. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your takeaway from your experience now that you're in perimenopause that maybe you feel like sharing, other than all this amazing information that you've just shared?
Well, and I think we just go back to the idea of like we are in control if we choose to be. And I think when we even just make some of this, I mean, all those tips I just gave you guys are free, right? Like you don't you just have to be, I'll say disciplined enough. You just have to want
Mhm.
to create this little
Yeah.
change. And then just do one at a time. Like you don't have to do all of them at once if that feels overwhelming. Maybe you just, what I would do is say, if you're a coffee, tea, caffeine drinker first thing in the morning, wait 45 minutes. You guys, it is a game changer. And then from there, you feel more energized, you feel more spicy in life, and
Sassy.
you can then have more energy to do some of these other things. So that's where I would start if you literally are like, oh my gosh, this is so much, right? Because it really is just the tip of the iceberg. But I think, you know, these three things are so, so important. And then that just the stressor part. We talked about it in the menopausal podcast, but I do want to just empower you guys to recognize through those phases. So the day one's the first day you start bleeding up until day 14, which is typically ovulation. It's called the follicular phase, or Dr. MENOPAUSE calls it the power phase. That's when your body is willing and can honor stress better. So it's tolerant of stress. You can eat your carbs, your sugars, your alcohol, things like that if you desire. But that's when you do the extra exercise. That's when you do the speaking engagement. If you can, you know, if you can schedule it that way, that's where you're producing more, doing more, you have more energy, your libido's higher. And then in day 14 to day 28 of the cycle, so that second phase is the luteal phase, and then the late luteal phase is right in that last 7 days before your period. We're starting to lose those hormones. They're going down. We're getting ready to shed the lining of the uterus. So that's really where you want to like nurture yourself. You really want to spend, you know, maybe you take a nap if you don't normally do that. Maybe you do more walking and less of the like hardcore working out. You don't add an extra, you don't do a double day workout. Maybe you just do a walk or something like that. So really being able to nurture yourself in that phase, recognizing that your body just is less tolerant of stress based on where your hormones are at in the cycle. So those would
Yeah,
be,
that's
I gave you
awesome.
two things, but those would be my
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
No,
So
that's great. Perfect.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so thank you. And like
I
I
love
said,
how
I'm gonna have
you
way more info, so I'm gonna be bringing it to you guys.
I love how you like just dive right deep and you're like, I'm doing it. I'm fixing
Yep,
it. I'm
yep,
going to change what I have to change to
yeah,
feel good, right? And that's the whole point in this is that we have to allow ourselves to feel good, even though we're feeling crappy half the time, right? At least
nicely
we've got
said,
some
nicely said.
information. At least we've got some information that we can pull from, right? And in
Mhm.
our next episode, we're gonna offer up some like some insight and some tools that if you want, you
Yeah,
can take away, you can try them. Dr. V's already uh, kind of added in a few that she had talked about, waking up and the coffee thing, which I don't know, that's not on my list. I'm gonna put that at the bottom of mine. I
I'm
need my
gonna.
caffeine in the morning.
Nope, nope. See,
Okay.
she's got a belief, you guys. She's got this belief system that she needs it. And I'm
Yeah,
telling
my
you right
belief
now,
is
you don't.
I
Wait
know that's
45
my
minutes.
belief.
You can do it. You can do it. Don't listen
That
to
frightens
don't listen
me.
to Kelly, you guys.
That's okay. We all have our thing. We all have
All
our
right.
thing. But
You
the
guys
other
can tell
two
us
I
how it
like
goes.
for sure. That's right. So next episode, stay tuned because we're going to
Yes.
offer up,
Yes,
like
yes,
I
yes.
mentioned, some just some ideas that we're
Oh,
going to share with you how we're kind of getting through it, the perimenopause and the menopause, and
hmm.
things that you can incorporate in your everyday life that could be helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
So we will talk to you then. So thanks so much, Dr. B, for your insight as always is amazing.
Yeah. My
And we will
pleasure.
catch everybody in the next episode. Bye.
Bye, guys. See ya.